Welcome to my rubbish review of Total War Warhammer. Am I an expert in the Total War series, having played them from the start to this stage? No, I've played Total War Shogun or Shogun Total War back when the words were reversed and all of that stuff. And since then, I played none of them. Am I an expert in Warhammer, or Warhammer Fantasy Battles, or whatever you want to call it, the now defunct IP from Games Workshop? Because of course, you'll make sure you have a Total War Warhammer game, and then change the name of it to Age of Sigmar, don't you, Games Workshop, you bunch of idiots? No, I'm much more a 40k man. However, I do know one thing, and that is that I have played Total War Warhammer for some considerable time, about 20 hours, and it is absolutely awesome. I don't have a great position of knowledge, I don't have a great position of expertise, but I can tell you that it's pretty damn good. But why? Why is it good? Well, let's start with the basics. You got Chaos. They are a marauding horde who cannot capture cities, but can rampage all over the map, razing and sacking anything they come across that even barely resembles a settlement, getting loads of coin, and recruiting troops on the move. They are led by Archaon the Everchosen, who is an absolute badass. You also have the Vampires, which summon ghouls and skeletons and ghosties and little things that go pop in the night, and they're really, really awesome. They don't have any sort of ranged weaponry in terms of their equipment, which makes battles with them really interesting, because you can't sit back and fire from afar. Oh no, you've got to shamble your way up the battlefield like a bunch of zombies, which is fitting because that's basically what they are. You also have the Dwarves, who are stunty, stubborn, and pretty damn hardy. They're pretty fun to play, although they do seem to be the easiest of all of them so far, and not least because they have incredible artillery and some really nice ranged units. And also they've got gyrocopters, they've got like little steam-powered helicopters that look dead good. You also have the Empire, which are just humans. Mostly humans. They're steam tanks and wizards and shit. They're pretty cool. And finally, we have the Orcs. And, well, the Orcs are exactly what you'd expect from a Warhammer game, or in fact any sort of game or film or book involving Orcs. They're just a rampaging horde of nutters. They can have their own settlements and their own cities, but they are big fans of getting huge, crushing numbers together and marching forth to despoil everything in front of them for the war. The battles themselves are pretty damn good. I especially like fighting as the Vampires because you have this amazing slow-moving tide of skeletons and just underground freaks flooding the battlefield. The lack of range stuff for the Vampires make them really fun to play because they present a different sort of challenge. You cannot just sit back and fire, you know, you've got to really consider where you're putting your units because you only have melee combat. You do have flying units like giant bats, which are really good and I really like them. But yeah, you don't have that safety net of being able to sit back and bomb them from afar before you get there. Dwarves, on the other hand, you should absolutely do that because their artillery is El Solido and you can just sit back for ages and bomb the crap out of the enemy, and if they don't come towards you, they lose, and if they do come towards you, well, you've got Slayers and Longbeards, which are solid as fuck. I don't have a huge amount of experience with the Empire, but from what I've seen, they are pretty well balanced as well. They're certainly more balanced than I'd say Orcs, who I feel really do favour the melee option, but that's because they're Orcs and they're stupid, and when they fire arrows they usually miss or hit the Orc next to them. The Orcs do have some other options in the form of goblins, otherwise known as gobos, but gobos are disgusting freaks, we don't have anything to do with them. They're weak, they're weedy, they're actually not too bad, but I don't care about that, I'm all about the Orcs, not the gobos. And finally we have Chaos, and Chaos are, well, they're sort of like the Empire, really. They've got their standard line troops, they've got their ranged units, they also have trolls and stuff like that, which is pretty awesome, and a hell cannon, I believe it's called. They are really fun to use on the battlefield, because you get to scream blood for the blood god whilst charging head first into the enemy army and hacking them apart with Chosen, who are badass, blessed warriors, blessed by the Chaos gods, oh my god. The campaign map is pretty well done. It can get a little bit laggy, a little bit frame rate droppy when you've got a lot of it unlocked and a lot of it available to view, but that seems to apparently be an issue with pretty much all Total War games from what I've been told. The settlement managing is really good, it's really simple, nice and easy to get your head around. The garrison system is a little bit disappointing. I thought maybe I'd be able to transfer units in and out of garrisons and put them into armies and stuff. It doesn't look like that's possible, at least I haven't found a way to do it yet. But on the other hand, it means you can't accidentally leave a city completely undefended, so I suppose there's always that. The campaigns pretty much follow a similar pace. It's basically, here is your army, here is your settlement, or in the case of Chaos, here is your army, here are a couple of settlements to ally yourself with, go forth and beat the shit out of everybody. And that's the kind of thing I like. It is, after all, Warhammer, it is not Peacehammer. The game is pretty damn difficult, I have to admit. I have been smashed into the floor repeatedly on many an occasion, because it just seems to be very challenging. People have told me that it's the hardest Total War yet, which is a great time to come into the franchise if you like a bit of a challenge. If you're here for an easy ride though, I would suggest that's probably not going to go so well. The graphics are great, although the lack of blood is a bit disappointing. All in all though, the sound design is what really sells it for me. The battles feel like battles, the death cries sound like death cries, the war cries sound like war cries, the vampires sound sinister, chaos sound like a bunch of nutters, orcs sound like they want to murder someone. It's exactly what you would want from quality sound design. All in all then, Total War Warhammer is a pretty damn solid game. I really enjoy it. I would say there are negative aspects. For instance, the difficulty is a bit harsh, especially if you're new to the series. You might well get frustrated with it, as I have occasionally. On the other hand, there are plenty of resources out there to get you started. And of course, if you want to go mod crazy, there is Steam Workshop support, and there is a bunch of mods which I've not yet had a chance to mess around with, but you can be damn sure the second I finish my first campaign, I'll be going back mod heavy to do it again. I've sunk about 20 hours into Total War Warhammer so far, and I can easily see myself soaking another 20,000 in, because it's just that much fun. It's interesting, it's balanced, it's well designed, it's not laggy as hell, it's had a really nice, smooth launch, the factions are all nicely done, with plenty of attention to detail, the tech trees are interesting, the different building options are interesting. All in all, great game, and this rubbish review awards it a, yeah, I'd play it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.